Hello, good evening everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. Happy midsummer. So I think we just have the longest day of the year. Hello, good evening everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. Fix my sound. So it's all downhill from here until winter. I'm only kidding. I love summer. Honestly, I'm really happy that it's finally coming out of lockdown. It feels like things are getting better, but that's only if you don't read the news. If you read the news, then you'll see that the R rate has gone back to like 1.9 in Germany, and China is in the second wave. So, could we all have to do it all again? I guess we might. Anyway, I've got a new puppy and I've absolutely no sleep. It's ridiculous. It's like having a new baby. So anyone with a puppy would know. So let's start. Let's take a look at where we are with Bitcoin. This is a weekly chart of Bitcoin. I think it's much better for perspective. Clearly we had this little down channel and we've broken out of this channel, but we're stuck. If we look at the high to low, we're stuck underneath this 61.8 fib level. And unless we can get above it, here at Binance, in Tether, it's 10,078. In other exchanges, obviously that varies slightly. I think Deribit is good. They take prices from 8 exchanges. That's quite a good one to look at. Normally, a Coinbase will vary a little bit, but we'll look at that in a minute. The key problem, and we've got this little rising, this is a little bit of a red herring, I think, this rising channel, because really we've got a sideways range. 10,078 is our resistance, and the bottom of this range, which is around 8,800, is where we are. It looks like we are about to get a golden cross, doesn't it, Dan? I agree. That means the weekly 20 is about to cross above the weekly 50, which is a really positive sign. But we still, when your moving averages are flat, which they are here, you don't have a trend, you have a sideways range, and we have to break out of it. The key thing here as well is trend line traders are looking at the trend line from the high of the end of 2017. We're connecting it with this high here. Sometimes if you're not sure if you're drawing it right, connect the two highs and then you can just extend the line right, and then you've got it exactly where you want it. And this, so this 61.8 level and this trend line is really what we've got to get above. The reassuring thing, so I'm afraid that I got out. So this is how I look at it. I look at it, this is a daily chart. I look at this daily 50 moving average as kind of my bull bear line. I really, we've been underneath it before, but sometimes you'll get underneath the 50 and it will become resistance and you will keep going lower. So 3 days ago on the 19th, I got out when we closed underneath this daily 50. Today, I bought Bitcoin back again when we broke above the sideways range of these last three little bars, and back above the 50 moving average again. And so I am back in long, looking to see if we can retest this 61.8 level and this trend line. And where am I going to be wrong now? And where will I get out of my longs again if we close back underneath this daily 50 minute? And I've not got this extended line now. That's okay, I'll fix it. If we get a back underneath this daily 50, so here at Binance Tether, that's 9418. If we close back underneath there, that'll be me out of my longs. If we that's that, and then because then we risk back to the bottom of the range, and then potentially, this is just a false little move. And very often, if you're going to see a false move, it'll be at the start of the week. So looking quite good, isn't it? If we short term look at it this way on our daily here, this is also, trendline fans are going to be looking at this and going, oh look, we have broken out. If we look at it on a 4-hour, you can see this is a really nice 4-hour breakout. So if you missed, what if you missed it? What if you're not long? What if you haven't got any? You can look at this on a lower time frame and buy a pullback. So here we have broken out. If we come back here and we retest it, and we don't drop back below and then turn up again, you can buy it when it turns up again. And instead here, if you buy the breakout, most people would have their stop here underneath these lows. If you wait for the retest, you can do it with a smaller risk, higher, higher stop up here. So that's what we're looking for. So the really tricky level is going to be 10,000, 10,000, and 70, 10,000 and 80. And where do we go from there? I'm pretty confident we're going to go to around 11,400 next. And then we'll see what happens there before we get a bigger correction and a bit more of a pullback. And that kind of ties in with where I feel we're going to go with stocks. I feel like we are back above the 200 moving average, looking pretty happy there. The world isn't quite ending yet, although the riots and stuff seem to be, not riots, but the riots seem to be calming down a bit. The news cycle isn't quite so, rubbish, and so not that stocks really cared, but they look pretty well supported. So 11,800 is where the 786 fib is. If we look at this, or if we look at, I'm not going to change exchanges. In fact, I better quickly. I will quickly. We'll look at. This is a good, pretty average price, Deribit. The problem is it doesn't have very much history, so you can't draw your trend line from that high. But if we look at Deribit, we're looking at the same thing. Big fib levels, high to low here, 61.8. It's at 9976, this 61.8, if we look at it at Deribit. So above 9976, and you can see that's the difference between Tether, slight premium, and then 11708 still the target up here. That's what we're looking for. So what is better and looking much better and much closer to breaking out is Ethereum. And almost every time that Bitcoin's had a breakout, something else has gone first. Usually it's Litecoin or Dash, or one of those has broken out before Bitcoin has. Litecoin's nowhere near going to be doing that this time. The position that chart is in, but I think that Ethereum might be a very good leading indicator. It's much better set up to be breaking out from the last July highs. We're really close to it. The 61.8 fib level though is at 258 if we put it on both swings here in ETH, and if we're going to have a breakout and a retest, 258 might be where we see it, because it's that 61.8 level. Don't be confused. Sometimes 61.8 levels can be messy, so we'll go beyond it. We'll go higher than that, and then we'll still come back and close underneath it. But then, so if you're waiting for the breakout retest before you buy any ETH, that would be a really good look. If you're looking for a breakout retest in ETH Bitcoin, this is a lovely chart too. ETH Bitcoin. This tells us, sorry, I was looking at Digibyte before we get going. Let's look at the daily chart of Ethereum Bitcoin. Had a really nice move today. So potentially a breakout, from what we thought was a wedge, but you always have to make new highs. That's the first place you're going to have trouble when you trade a triangle or a wedge or breakdown like that, the horizontal level. And so 25,409, so 25,500 is really where ETH Bitcoin needs to trade above if it's going to keep going higher. We've had a look above it, but we can't at the moment close above it. Let's see how we're doing here on a low time frame. Yeah, a little bit of a risk of a pullback here, I think, and then maybe tomorrow we'll get the breakout that we're looking for. Clearly, these fib levels are being, and I've drawn my fib levels on this last swing lower in ETH Bitcoin from May 2019. So this is, it's not the whole, you can get a look quite, at the moment, I've got my fib levels on this last swing lower. And the reason is that they seem to be working. This 236 fib was a really good on a back test, or not initially. This 61.8, 38.2, the levels are working. Now, I think the only other alternative way I might look at it is from this high here. Okay, and if we do that from this high here, which is January, and that makes more sense because then that would be the set 2019 high to low. Then the resistance that we're talking about is a little bit higher and at these previous highs, so 25,930. So above 25,930 we've definitely broken out, haven't we? The next thing, so what would this trade look like if it's going to fail? It would make an ABC correction, so two equal measured moves. like this. So this low to this high, projected from here, that's where we would fail. So that's 26,440. So if we stop at 26,440, make sure that we don't come back too far. If we come back underneath these lows, that's a fail. So back underneath 24,400 would be a fail. Again, we've got flat moving averages, big time frame. So although we've got very nice trend on the lower time frame, we haven't got a big daily trend going yet. Hopefully we will. So 26,440 might be trouble, but at the moment ETH is smashing it against Bitcoin, and that's good news for alts. What I like much better than 2017 at the moment is people seem to be much more fussy about projects. They won't just buy anything now, so not everything is flying, but some quality stuff really is, and there's some really interesting stuff. So I'm only going to do technical analysis tonight though, and I'm only going to tell you about the ones that are interesting charts. For the rest of it, you kind of have to do your own research, I'm afraid. Okay, so I like ETH to outperform Bitcoin. We are really close to resistance though, and I'm watching to see if we can break out 247 and then 258, and then above those levels in ETH, Bitcoin, ETH dollar should be the breakout, and that hopefully will take Bitcoin with it. Let's take a look at ADA, which has been really outperforming. This is the daily chart of ADA. And you can see that we've got into the, if we look at this daily or the weekly, we've gone into the regions of these prior lows here and found a little bit of resistance. That's normal, but lovely bullish cross, golden cross, lovely golden cross here on the weekly. In this one is set to continue higher, I think. Big picture, the fibs from the all-time highs to low give us a huge target, 2,370. I think that's a bit, crazy. When I draw them though from this high, they haven't really worked that well. So let's clean this up a bit and see where. So let's start, because the first thing you want to see to validate it really is a decent reaction at the 236 fib if you can. And that's not really clear from this last swing lower, is it? And if we look from here, it's not really clear here, although support does become resistance. Let's see. So this is why I'm a little bit hesitant about using fib retraces for ADA. So when I can't use fib retraces, see how this is all the same level here, ADA Bitcoin. This was all one low, right? This is a higher low, and so I project from this correction. So we'll say like this. So we're looking for 1.618, then 2.618, and so on, and we'll 4.236, yeah. So there we go. We'll go step by step this way. We're a little bit messy at this 1.618, but I think back above it again, or back out of this consolidation, should see 1137 and then 1280, and then ideally 1581 next. Very nice uptrend. When you see your moving averages start to fan apart and you come back and find support, this is really kind of an ideal pullback long level. It's just a matter of whether this correction is finished. We've done one leg. We might need to do a little bit more before we continue higher, but definitely buying dips in ADA. So that's ADA Bitcoin and ADA dollar. Got the same very nice support here from the daily 20 moving average. We've got our daily moving averages fanning out. This last one, I've done it from the June 2019 high like this, ABC, mainly because they seem to work, number one. And if we look now between the levels, we reversed at this 786, got support from the 621.8. We're going to look to continue higher. We'll go to the 886 next, and so on until we get to these previous highs, and then we'll look beyond and we'll do projections. In ADA, if we did the same fib projections from this last swing lower, you can see we're at the 1272. 1.618 would be next. That's up here at 0.104. So on its way up for ADA. Angie Pitt, thank you very much. Zahid, I will look at those stocks, yeah, for you at the end, don't worry. So ADA dollar and ADA Bitcoin. More importantly, whenever you look at a chart against the dollar, and you really want to look at it against Bitcoin as well and make sure that it's worth putting your hard-earned Bitcoin into, or ETH at the moment, right? So on our way higher, this is a trending market. Our moving averages are spaced out and pointing upwards. This is a nice trending market in ADA. So buy dips until it stops, or until it starts to flatten out. We'll make a sideways range here, and then you know what happens within this range tells us which way next. So looking good. Litecoin, unfortunately, is one of the ones. It's not looking so happy. It's really struggled to get above this 200-day moving average. This is Litecoin against dollar. So, you know, high tide should float all boats, right? In crypto, if everyone's up, all should be going up. And Litecoin really hasn't recovered since the start of the year the way some of the others have. So you have to say, what's going on? You know, what's going on with the project? You know, maybe do a little bit more research. Why does this chart look so rubbish? That's the main thing. Why does this chart look so rubbish? Now, sometimes in crypto, they all, you know, if back above this 200-day moving average, that would really make a difference for Litecoin. And that's that round number 50. And Litecoin has always been a big thing with big round numbers. So back above 50, I think that we would see much more upside. 53 is fib resistance. So it might mean that we get above 50, hit 53, do a bit of a pullback to retest 50, and then we'll see what happens then. It'll either be a false breakout, and if we go back below 50, it's party over, or we'll find support at 50 and carry on higher. So that's how I would see this. But at the moment, we've got a lot of work to get even there, and you know, we had a pretty nice day today, but we're still underneath these daily moving averages. For me, that's a little bit too risky. I'd like to see it a little bit further. You know, it hasn't quite broken out the way Bitcoin has. If we draw a trend line from this high, oh, maybe it has. You know, for me, these daily moving averages are still too tricky. But, you know, if you like Litecoin, and there's nothing wrong with Litecoin, if you like it, you know, when you're in a range like this, the idea is to buy the bottom and sell the high. And so this is the bottom. So if we can get above that 50, go that little bit higher, 44.8, I think Litecoin dollar is a nice long. If we look at it against Bitcoin, because when it goes, it does outperform Bitcoin. It's just, is it going to go? Here on the, you know, we're, yeah. Don't know, do we? Okay, I'm going to switch down to a 4 hour. We'll apply some harmonic pattern logic to Litecoin and see where we're sitting. Yeah, you know, I think we could see another leg higher here, and I tell you why, because when you reverse to the 786 fib, which we did here, perfect test, look, your target is back to the 38.2 first target, second target is 236. So this is our target from this bounce, and we haven't got there yet. Looks like we've done one leg in a pullback, and so this next leg, I would see us getting 47.87, and that would line up with this sideways range, this previous high look for the top of the last leg down, and so we would then kind of consolidate here, and we'll see. Normally you would get up there and you expect kind of a 50% pullback, come back to the middle, we would have all our moving averages bunched up, and then we'll see which way next. So for a short-term trade, if we can close above this daily, if we can close above 4662 Litecoin Bitcoin, which is this fib level here, 4662, 4787 short-term trade, and then we'll see where we go from there. On the daily though, whilst you know, it's got a bit of work to do, really. It does, unfortunately. So KM Mining says Litecoin's a shit. Well, they used to test a lot of stuff on Litecoin, didn't they? Like, and they used to have really good developers. It's just, what are they doing? You know, where is it going? What's next? That's what we got to say. Okay, let's take a look at Link. And I'm not going to tell you. You have to. We're just looking at the charts, okay? Here's a nice, that's a nice one, getting ready for a breakout. This Z coin here, everything bunched up, you know. Similar thing to Litecoin. We could break out of this wedge and get above this 200 moving average, then I'd be excited about it. Not quite excited yet. Let's see. Okay, so we're looking at Link. First off, we're going to look at Link dollar on the daily. Again, lovely trend. All of our moving averages spaced up, pushing higher. Well, they used to. Okay, all right, Cam. I'm not gonna argue about Litecoin. It was a fun trade when it worked, wasn't it? So, are we on our way up again? Yes, it does look like we are up again, on our way up again in Link dollar. I have to say that I thought Link dollar would come back a little bit further, and I thought Link dollar would come back to this 200 moving average in this 50% level. And the reason is, again, from this high to this low, we reversed at an 886 fib level. We've had a really nice 5-wave rally up. Normally you would expect 3 waves back, and at 886 I would expect it to come back to this 50% in the middle. And we didn't get there yet. So I'm a little bit wary that we're not going to make a new high, and we'll do another leg lower and catch up this 200 moving average. So if you're long of it, and there's no reason why you wouldn't be, fine, happy days, but watch out that we don't reverse, or keep a tight stop, or manage your risk well. You know, if we start coming back, if we come back, you know, here's this little level through the middle here. I would say if we start, you know, coming back underneath 4.25, we're not trending higher anymore, and watch out that we don't drop down to 3.24 in a bigger ABC correction, and tag that 200-day moving average in Link dollar. If we look at Link Bitcoin, I'm not going to say it will. I mean, it could just happily keep going. If it happily keeps going, that's fine, because we're looking for an extension target. From here, we're going to put them in. There's our 1.618 and the 1.1272. So first target would be 5.94. Second target would be 7.15 if we can get above and hold above 4.59. But yeah, that's just gonna, you know, we might do one more pullback before we go. Okay. Let's look at Link Bitcoin. There's an awful lot of people that bought Lamborghinis, cocaine and hookers, like, in crypto, let's be honest. All right then. So Chainlink Bitcoin looks a bit like a Bitcoin chart or F chart. We're trying to break out. We've got flat moving averages. We're all a little bunched up here. We're in this rising channel, and we were looking to see if we're going to break out, or if this is dire and we're going to do one leg lower and again come back to this 200 moving average. So by that I mean this would be our A leg, a big B leg, and then we'll do a C leg down here to this 200 moving average if we don't break out. So it's quite important then that we make new highs in Litecoin that we can hold, and that we break out from this trend line. And so 47,270, something like that, would be what we want to see. I've drawn this channel not because it's going to limit us on the upside. We could easily pop above it, but if we pop down below it, you know, that would be your sell. So we're bearish below 42,700, and then we would be looking for a retest of this 200-day moving average. So whilst we're in this sideways range with flat moving averages, whilst we look good short term trending higher, we really do need to break above 47,200, and then we should fly. A rule for when you have a big triangle like this, you know, you take the widest point at the start. I'm going to draw it down here anyway. So you take the widest swing at the start, which would be here, and then you project it from your breakout point. So if this is our widest swing, like this, then we project it from our breakout point. That puts our target up here. So Ashby Deb says, Nick, am I expecting fireworks or a submarine dive on the 26th when the options expire? And could this Bitcoin rally be manipulation? And that's a good point. And it's not just the options. The options are very busy now for Bitcoin, aren't they? It's not just the options, but the Bitcoin futures expire on Friday as well. Do you know, until we really break out and get some direction, whilst we're going sideways, it's really hard to know. That kind of expiration is what would give us, those kind of moves will give you a false breakout. It'll give you it could give us fireworks. Whether they will be meaningful for the long-term direction, I'm not so sure about. In fact, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be. But yeah, for the day or for the weekend, they could provide some fireworks, but not that meaningful. Okay. So I'm just going to go back to the weekly and link Bitcoin. So this is definitely one of those ones when you look at it and you say, yeah, this is definitely outperforming Bitcoin, definitely on its way higher. Even this is the worst case, just a big, you know, I'm not going to do that actually. I'm going to, yeah. No reason for this one to stop. The trend is the trend. One thing I would say is when you tend to make a wedge or a triangle pattern, it's very often a wave 4. It's a sign of a wave 4. And so the breakout of it is usually the final one before you get a bigger correction. And when you get the bigger correction, where do you normally come back to? The bottom of wave 4. So we would see a new high, and then we would come back and we would retest 33 in link. So just watch out for that. But yeah, very nice setup if we can break out above 47,200 in link Bitcoin. Okay, I'm going pretty slow and I need to. I'm talking too much. Don't know why. Haven't even had a drink. Okay. I got the, oh, look at this. This is BitShares. This is, nobody asked for this, but I think this is a really nice looking little setup here. This is exactly what you want to see, you know, when you break above. Look at this 200 moving average. Support, support, support. Resistance, 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 resistance. Now we're above it, finding support, and we're about to launch off it. And what I also like about this is it's also the 236 fib. So if we can make a new high here in BitShares, see these highs that we got to break above? Very nice long setup above 266. Our next upside target would be 311. And, you know, we could also, it's not perfect, but it has the kind of look anyway. So, very nice long setup in BitShares. Does this mean, I don't know anything about what BitShares do. This is not me endorsing any projects. This is me telling you that this is a really nice technical pattern on a chart that should get us to at least 311, if not a retest of these highs at 428. And then we'll see what happens there. So you're not buying it, okay. Next one we're going to look at is, and that wasn't the one we were supposed to look at, because we were supposed to be looking at ARK. And I'm on the wrong page. This is why we're not looking at ARK. Here's ARK Bitcoin. I'm going to start with a daily on this one. This is a really funky one. normally, you know, when you're watching anything rally, a big ABC is a sign that it's bearish or corrective. So, and for that I use this tool here, okay? Look down, trend-based fib extension. Now, when you click it, and you put it on, okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like before, okay, before, when you put it on without making it look how you want, let's go apply defaults. It's going to look like that, okay? So I kind of modify it. I don't like the background, so I take the background away. I make them all one color so I can see what I'm looking at. And I don't need all of these levels. I'm only looking for the 0.618, 1.618, 2.6. I like the 1272, so I'm going to put that in. So all one color. So I do it like that. And so I can measure it. So now if I put this on this low and this on this high, when I put this third one on this low here, it will project it. It will tell me when this is an equal measured move. Here in this was an ABC, and then we did a really sharp reversal. We missed it by a couple of ticks, but that's what an ABC correction looks like. And whenever you see one, it makes you think, oh, this is corrective, damn. And quite often, if you reverse it after an equal measured move, you're looking for it to come back at least 78.6%. So from this low to high here, that is where we came back to, the 786, okay? So here, there's a danger that we've done it again, but bigger. So sometimes those smaller ABCs turn into bigger ones. So here, if we think that this is ABC up, and then or this is A up, and then we've gone ABC down, here's our next one. And what I didn't forgot to do is extend the lines. Hold on. Settings. Okay. I've forgotten how to extend the... here we go. Extend lines. Right, there we go. You can see that this looks like a big A, B, and then equal measured move up to here, wasn't it? Not only that, but we couldn't hold the new highs. So there's a danger that this comes all the way back 78.6 of this whole rally again, and it's all still corrective, and we're not yet going up in ARK Bitcoin. Now, that's against Bitcoin. I think it does look like a very nice bottoming pattern. So what does this mean? Does it mean that in dollar terms ARK won't go up, or that won't outperform? If we look at ARK Tether, you know, we've got the same thing going on, but we haven't got the potential ABC bottoming pattern. But this just makes me this long tail, this failure to hold at a new high. That's a swing failure pattern, isn't it? Because we've gone to a new high, but we couldn't hold it. And so that, with the equal measured move thing, makes me a little bit, yeah, let's leave ARK alone and wait for it to bottom out and see where that happens. Because potentially ARK Bitcoin could, after this disappointing breakout, it could come all the way back down to the 786 fib, which is, gosh, 2144. So let's that's where we are with this one. One little tip when I'm using that measuring tool, fib thing. So if we go from this low to this high, and we project it from here, when you get to the equal measured move, if you're looking for where it might come back to and find support, this 61.8 level back test is usually it, and we're underneath it. So that's not very good here. In fact, this is our level. So I would say if we're wrong about ARK, and if we are going to continue higher, a back above 32.39 would be a good sign. But at the moment, in fact, if we look at it on the hourly, we can't get above it. We can't close above it. So now if we made sometimes, you know, markets go beyond and they make inverted head and shoulders patterns when they go beyond a level. So this would be a little, you know, big head. If we did that and got back above it, I would say there's a good chance that this is wrong. This is not an ABC, and we're going to carry on and get rid of that bearish symmetry. But at the moment, 32.39, a daily close above it would be what I want to see, for us to have another shot at the highs, okay? So above 32.39 in art Bitcoin is what you want to watch for. Alpha is another one that's being good looking. Oh, finally, IOS. This level. Breakout, nice break. That's a nice breakout in IOS from this sideways consolidation. So when I look at a chart like this is IOS tether, and I think I've missed the move, which happens a lot, especially if there's a big thrust candle like this green candle. If you mark halfway back, okay, so halfway back of the green open close of this green candle, you can measure it and just mark where it is. Then if you go down to an hourly chart, when you're looking tomorrow, because you think, oh, I like this one, it looks good, it's got lots of upside room, that's where you'd be looking for it to come back to you to buy against. And if it closes underneath it, that's a bearish reversal in candlestick terms on the daily. That 50% level, let me put regular candles back on, is if we were going to see more downside, that 50% level is where the line is, your Marubosu line, if you like. Okay? All right then, there is a good point, a pump on all coins, I agree. I think this PayPal news is, well, I'm not a huge PayPal fan, but there we go. Okay, so I keep interrupting and not looking at the ones that you want me to look at. Here's ELF. Here's ELF on our daily. So I'm going to put regular candles on. We've been in this really nice, we've had this really nice move, haven't we? If we put our fib retracers on and see the levels from here to here, see if any rules apply. 886, 50%, 236. So we went to the first target. When you reverse at an 886 fib level, your first target is the 50% in the middle. And your second target, if you go beyond it, is the 236. And then you tend to come back to the middle of the whole rally and see what's what. What this one has done, though, let's measure again, is this corrective or is this a new uptrend for ELF? I think it's looking a little bit like it's an ABC, and not only that, this 61.8 level that we would normally expect to hold has now actually dropped underneath it. So I think we've got another leg lower to come here in ELF. Okay, so, and this is resistance, and so we're going to see this, and if we put our fibs on the other way now, because we're in this range, you can see that we're respecting these fibs pretty nicely, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do a deep ABC all the way down here to 834. So ELF, disappointing that this sharp reversal here 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I'm not feeling it now. What would make me bullish? If we break that symmetry, if we break above the highs of this cluster here that we're in, then I would have a go and say, gosh, are we going to retest the highs? Is this correction done? But let's see. This ABC look of this rally makes me a little bit nervous that we're on our way back to the 200-day moving average. So ELF, it was nice, it tried really hard, but it couldn't make it. And I'm really disappointed because I was hoping for a bigger move all the way to this 236 fib. So, oh well. They can't all, yeah. Let's see if we can break out of this cluster to the upside. It doesn't look like it at the moment, but if we can, then, you know, big picture, I would like to, what I wanted to see in this one, see from this low to this high from here, I wanted to see the big ABC that took us to 1625. So in other words, this leg here, this leg repeated. Okay, and there it is. And like this, and that takes us to the, and we didn't do it. So big picture, I think we only got to the 61.8. Yeah, So this swing, when we measure from this low to this high and we project it from here, we stalled or stopped at the first resistance. So this is a big ABC as well as this being an ABC. So for me, yeah, sorry, I think that we're headed back to the 200 moving average in ELF Bitcoin. Off the menu, off the radar. Dash, and I've been told to look at Dash US dollar, which I will. I keep looking at NEO and thinking, will NEO break out? But Dash. So I'm starting with Dash US dollar. Quite a nice chart. So big rally, pull back to this. I've got my fibs the wrong way around, so I'll change this way. Sorry about that. Very nice bounces off this 38.2 level, previous wave 4. This is like very nice, trendy, you know, consolidation, sideways, flat moving averages. Nothing not to like about this. We could buy the bottom of the range, see if we can get through these, but trouble in the middle and get back to the highs. That's what we would be looking for here. My problem with this is if I go the other way from the highs and measure, where we rallied to was the 50% level. And so this is not a fib level, mean reversion. And when you do that one way, when you have a mean reverting market one way, it tends to mean revert the other way, which means 50%, so 50% back of the rally means 50% back of this rally off the lows as well. So 50% back is where we're not there yet. So what does this mean for our little rally here? Well, it means probably it might be upside limited, because we may be about to do this and then so we do this and then one leg lower. So we go A, B, C. Now, how would you know? Well, okay, we measure this leg here and then we look at this rally, and if that's what we repeat and we don't make a new high, we don't break out, and we stop somewhere up here at 84 or something, then another leg lower for Dash dollar. Really do need to make a new high. So there we go. When we do break out from these eventually, you know, when you bunch up all your moving averages like this. Now, I'm wrong if this keeps going and it makes a new high. So there's no harm in trying it. Just make sure that, you know. Well, no, to be honest, when your first swing is to 50% and you pull back and you do another leg high, you tend to make a thing called a bat pattern, which takes you all the way to the 886 up here. So if we make a new high, and if I'm wrong about another swing lower in Dash dollar, then we're looking for 132, which is a really nice upside target. So it's all to fight for. It's just whether the bulls can push it to a new high or not, you know. It's never over. They can do it. But we've got a lot of trouble to get through. So there we go. We're just looking at the possibilities of if we make a new high, then we're probably going to go to 132, which is quite nice from 89. So that's Dash dollar. Let's take a quick peek at Dash Bitcoin before we go. Make sure that we really do want to spend our hard-earned. Okay, for me, I feel like this is a daily chart of Dash Bitcoin. From this low to this high, I feel like we lost the 786 fib, and we don't normally. They're quite sharp fib levels normally. So for me to want to see Dash outperform Bitcoin, I would like to see it back above this level, which is 7606. If we can do that, that would be a really bullish trigger for me. It would be like a little false breakdown, and we'd be on our way back up again. But we closed the week underneath there. And so if you look at this on a weekly, you can see in terms of, are we fighting back to get this support? I have to say not. So, I mean, it's not dire, but it just might not go quite as well as Bitcoin. Nano. My alarms have been going for Nano today. Is it Nano or is it Mana? One of them. Let's see Nano. Sorry for waffling. Speed up 21. Okay, first off, it was Nano that my alarms were going for, because we've got this, and I should mention it while we're here, even though it's not on the list, because we've got, I think that this is quite a cool range that we are potentially trying to break out of, and it's quite hard with all these spike highs to see where the levels are. So when I'm not sure, this is when I definitely use fibs and will say we did break out, but we tagged this 50% level and got stuck here, which is a bit annoying. Hopefully this will be a shallow pullback and will continue beyond this 50% level. But it means, look, the first time at this 38.2 we got a sharp knockback. Now this is the first time at this, so mana probably done until we break above that level, and we need to get above 499, and above 499 we should see a really nice swing. But now let's take a look at Nano Bitcoin. Nano, when I looked at this chart, I was a bit, you're never quite sure where to put your fib levels. Okay, I always take the most recent kind of obvious swing lower, which is this one here on the daily, from this high to this low. But you know, we could argue that maybe it should be here really, and this is all one sequence, in which case we've got a much bigger run till we get to the first fib level at 1824. For now I'm going to keep it conservative and look at this most recent swing lower, and then when you put it on, you say, okay, well, if we get a reaction at the 236 fib, then that kind of validates it. And here, I'm afraid, in Nano Bitcoin, that's what happened. We got a reaction when we first tried this 236 fib on the 10th of June, and then we tried it again a week later, and we haven't managed to. Hello, Haven. I'm gonna look at that at the end. I had a really nice trade in that this last week, so we'll look at why and what's going on. So this is a big problem for Nano. This is now a major resistance at 1328. That's where we need to get above if we're going to follow through on this lovely bottoming that's taken so long. Listen, this has been, you know, kind of almost a year in the making. So 1328. So far, we haven't broken down. If we look, you know, when we're trending, these moving averages become support and resistance. When you're going down, they're resistance. When you're going up, like here, every time you come back to this 20 moving average, it's support. So we've got support, 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 and then we double topped. That was the party over for Nano. Here we've done the same thing. We've been riding this 20 moving average, support, support, support. We might have double topped. So we're going to find out what happens on the retest. It looks like we're ready to go up and challenge it again. 1327 is really key. So if you're buying this, that's where you're looking for. Where are you wrong? Underneath this 20 moving average, which is at 1136. I close under 1136. That's the trend done. KM Mining says, for fuck's sake, stay in Bitcoin. Some of these alts though, okay, listen. There's two reasons why you buy altcoins. You buy altcoins because they're a really cool project that you actually think might turn into something. And then you try and buy them as cheap as you can and you ride the waves, I would say. And then there are some altcoins that you don't know anything about and you look at the chart and you say, well, that looks really good. And then it's a trade. You can't get married to it. You can't get excited about it. You can't talk about why it's great or bullshit you read on the internet. You know, because for all you know, they could be a bunch of scammers. Okay, so, and then it's a trade. You don't get married to it. When it hits resistance, you take profit and say thank you very much, you know. I don't know. I used to be like that, really snotty. I used to be really snotty about Ripple. And that was one of the biggest moves of, you know, like who knew that Ripple was going to do that? And so I kind of had a bit of, I decided not to be so snobby about it and to really look at them, some of them. I really hate the ones that go all the way up and then come all the way back because they're clearly pump and dump. Okay, but if you look at a chart, for example, like Haven, That's not a pump. That's the opposite of a pump and dump. Like, there's no sharp tails on the upside. Every little dip is getting nibbled at and bought. And so you have to say, well, why? What is this project? What does it, those ones. And there's loads of projects that I quite like that, like Nictrades and the really kind of infrastructure ones. There are some really good ones. Clearly, a lot of people like ADA. Let's look at the ADA. There are no big spikes here on the upside. Every little shallow dip is being bought. Okay. The Palm Beach ones, they're the ones with the big long tails on the top, because they all take profit at the same pace and it collapses and you get run over. So, okay, I'm going to carry on. So NANO, that's NANO. Let's look at our RLC, see if we've got more upside in RLC, and then we'll do some more. Okay. Here's exec RLC. So while most of the coins on this page are all having a bit of a bad pullback day today, 1 out of 6, this one is having a really nice up day against Bitcoin. It's everything you want to see. It's above the 200-day moving average instead of flat moving averages, which we had down here, and everything bunched up, which we had here, and not much going on. We've pulling apart. Our 20 has crossed the 200. Our 50 is turning up again. Everything that you want to see to go higher. We had a little bit of a pause here in the middle at this 50% level, which is normal. It's just one of those places that people tend to take profit. People who don't know much, they'll look at it and say, yeah, okay, I didn't like this drop all the way back. If it can get halfway back, I'm going to get my money out, or something like that. When we talk about ABC corrections and that being a sign that a move is corrective, here we made a really nice, clearly 3-wave move lower. In fact, we didn't quite. This is another one where we didn't quite get to the equal level. But I think that we can argue, we can see clearly it's 3 waves, not 5, isn't it? Which is what you see in a correction. And as soon as we got it back above this 61.8 level here, we're on our way higher. So now we're going to look for a bigger, potentially ABC going the other way. So this is from the low to the high. Where's our first place that we might have trouble? Where's that 61.8 level, in other words? Up here. So the next place that we might have trouble is 86.45 in RLC. So yes, we definitely do have more upside. 86.45 would be the first place I'm looking, and then if we're bearish, and if we get an equal measured move, 12,000. And if we're dead wrong and we're bullish, we're gonna get above these highs here. So let's put bigger fib things in, because we're at the 50% level there, and it's the 38.2 here, so it's a bit of confluence, but I still think higher for RLC. All the moving averages are pointing to higher. This looks like a nice correction. Doesn't necessarily mean we'll see new highs, but we should go quite a long way back of it. Remember, you should normally go 78.6 of this drop. So I will have a look at Ren. I don't want to talk about, I honestly, I really don't want to talk about the fundamentals. I think I'm not one of these people that shill coins, okay? I talk about interesting charts and why people are interested in them, okay? So I'm happy to talk about a Ren chart, but I'm not going to talk about the fundamentals. I think it's really important people do their own research. So, or, pay for research, or just, learn a trend following system so that when the price stops going up, you recognize it and, you can take your money out. So this is RLC. So Haven. Now, I almost didn't want to put Haven on tonight because it's quite a small coin. And when you say I really like this, whatever. It's really hard for people to get in and out when the volume is not, there's not a huge volume. I mean, I think the day I bought it, I was like half the volume. It's really just silly. So, but this is a really nice little project, and it's a really nice little chart, and we'll talk about where we are with the fibs if I can remember what page I have it on. Okay, 1 second, and then we'll look at your requests and your Ren. Okay, so Haven. Gosh, for some reason, instead of Haven, I have my ADA chart here. I don't know why. Let's look. Now we're going to look at it against Bitcoin first of all, and I'm going to go to the daily and then the weekly here. Now let's take them away. Normally, when you put your big fibs on from all-time highs to lows, and I've got it slightly higher than here because it is actually slightly high. This is just because it's Bittrex and where I'm trading it, but the high is actually slightly high where I've got it. When they line up with, when your 236 fib lines up with really good support and resistance, which we've got here with this previous high, it's normally a pretty good valid first target. So here on the weekly, when we look at this, we've had a lovely thrust week that's taken us out of this sideways consolidation, and this is another one where we've spent a year, really a year, building a base in this one, sorting itself out, making a base. This is not a perfect head and shoulders, but it is a year in the making of this base. And so when you break out from it, first off, when you see a base like this, the first base you're going to look for it to go is twice the distance from here to here, which we have exceeded, and then you're going to look for the previous highs, because here on the weekly we're in a downtrend until we get to 18,000. If you consider an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows, and a downtrend is lower lows and lower highs. So if we're going to start making higher highs on this one, this 18,000 is the first place we've got to. So we've got our bottoming pattern, huge thrust week that we've broken out of, and continuing now to 18. And then if we get above here, we can start to really talk about flying, because then we'll have a higher high, then we get a lower high, and then we're back in an uptrend again. Okay, I'm a big fan of privacy coins, so this is not the only one. So, do your own research. There are other privacy coins, but this is why I'm like this. We have paused at the moment at a support and resistance level ahead of this fib target. So this spike low from way back in 2018, when this came all the way down, this is where we are. Why does that tend to happen? Imagine if you're an investor right at the beginning, okay, and we have this big crash and you ride this all out and you're holding on, you've got a bag of this, okay, and we go down all the way down here, and then you spend a year with your bag thinking, God, is this ever going to do anything? And we get back to that price. You go, oh, thank God, I'm going to sell. And that's what people do. So it's normal for us to pause here. As long as we don't come back too far, what I think we've seen is a wave 1, wave 2, this is a wave 3. Normally in a wave 3, and this is, I think actually is wave 3 of 3, normally you would come back 38% of the, or 38% or 50% of the whole rally. So if we think that that's the case here, I think we've already done it. We're sitting on this 38.2 back. We had a look underneath it, but we didn't close underneath it. So here is pretty good support. Now we're quite a long way from the moving averages because we came here pretty fast. So what we're most likely to do now in Haven, I think, is go sideways, and we're going to do a correction very similar in scale to this one. Well, this correction shouldn't really go any longer. This correction took us 14 days. So it may be, we've had 2 days already, so it may be for the next 12 days we go quietly sideways here. That's quite interesting. Where does it take us? I think we'll see one last thrust. I can't remember when they have main, anyway. 20th of July is an important date for this coin. So yeah, expect some sideways consolidation, should not last longer than 2 weeks, and then Haven, let this moving average catch up, and then Haven protocol should continue higher. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Madam, thank you. I got your message. Thank you. Okay, so I like this one. This is a timing thing. I really do like Haven, but we need to do some sideways consolidation and a bit of back and fill before we can go higher again. There's loads to like about this. And I think we've got a big date with 18400 next. Okay, so we'll go back and look at some. There was some requested. First of all is Ren. Okay, so let's take a look at Ren. I can't remember where it is, so well, let me see. I might have to draw a new chart. That's fine. No, here it is. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so Ren. This is a really lovely chart. Now, a lot of people don't talk about Ren, but it's one of those ones that just keeps going. Let's talk about, first of all, these fib levels. Because all of the fib rules that I like to talk about, it's demonstrated perfectly. Okay. First off, so I put my fibs on from, this is Ren protocol, and we'll just talk about fib rules. I put my fibs on from this high to the low. This first swing went to the 38.2 and did a deep pullback, A, B, C. Whenever you see that, you're looking for at least this 886. That's what you're looking for. And we hit it. So that was a really nice projection. The second swing, look, went to the 61.8. That's the golden ratio zone in the middle. When you stop at a 61.8 fib, you either come back to the 38.2 or the 236 fib, which we did perfectly here, and then back to these lovely weekly moving averages and carried on higher. So this one's doing everything right. Then we went to the 886 fib. What's the rule there? Well, your first target is back to the 50%, and if that breaks, you go all the way to the 236 fib, but if not, you should continue the trend higher. So that fib rule worked out perfectly, 886, back to the 50% here, didn't it? So we're doing really well in terms of fib rules here. Now, okay, we are looking like we can close the week at new highs. We're certainly, in terms of, if we look at weekly closes, we're going to close above these previous weekly close highs. So that means that we're setting course for, if we're going to make a just marginal new high, the 1.13 or 1.132 is the level where that happens, and then we might come all the way back. But really, normally, I would be looking for 1272 or 1.618 now that we are here at these new highs. So here's our 1.618. I'm going to put the 2.618 in as well, and that's in, and then I'm going to clean up this chart. So we'll take out all these fib levels that we don't need to talk about anymore. Hey ho. So as long as we can hold 1392 on the weekly, we're looking for 1528, 1673, and then maybe 2030. Sometimes I like to do this as well. See if they line up. Not really. Okay. So looking good, Ren. Remember though, back to these previous highs, and this was July 2019. A lot of people will be taking profit here, so we really need the bulls to step it up, and because we have the potential to go much higher. This is why you very often pause at these levels. Here on the daily, we've only just broken above it today. So for me, if we're looking for an entry, you want to see this hold on a back test. Here on the hourly, that's exactly what it's doing. Look, holding on the back test, and then you want to see a break of this bullish flag consolidation to the upside. So here's our pole, here's our bullish flag, and so above that, breakout above that, that confirms we're going up, and we're looking at those levels. 1528, remember, 16, so on. So nice little, really nice look, you know. But let's see it's continue. You know, at new highs, the buyers really need to come in now and push it, keep pushing it. Okay, another one. This is an old school old OG coin is, well, this is a nice looking pullback in OMG, isn't it? I'm going to say OMG back above this 236 fib level, which is at 1729. That's a nice long in OMG after a pullback, and I'm a pullback girl. I like to see pullbacks in trends. And the other one that I'm looking at that keeps tempting me, this is Stratus. Yeah, it doesn't look quite so good as it did this morning. We'll leave that one for now. But most crypto, yeah, you got to be careful though, because in a strong enough wind, even the turkeys will fly, but you don't want to buy the turkey. You really want the racehorse. So let's take a look at Chiliz and FTM. Yeah, no, I think Stratus is, on this pullback here has got, look, I do think it's making a very nice base here. These moving averages say, you know, let's see. And ZIL, yeah, Zilliq is another one. A lot of coins are pulling back today with the strength in Bitcoin, so you need to be a little cautious. Okay, I'm just going to look at Chiliz and FTM. Damn, now Chiliz, this is another one like Bitcoin. I want it to get to the trend line. Okay, but I put my fibs on. Just this is Chiliz Bitcoin from low to high. And we've twice come back to this 786 fib, and this again here. And when you do that, your first target is the 38.2 fib, and your second target is the 236 fib. Well, the first time we did it, we got all the way to the 236. This time, here we are at this 38.2, and we've had a little bit of a pause, and that's a little, makes me a little bit nervous. Now, I would like to see 5 waves up, impulsive, and so that means that we really don't want to be back underneath this level. So that's going to be, we're bearish underneath 134. And then if we look at pullbacks of this little swing, and if we say this probably is a wave 3 or something, I don't know, I'm probably doing this wrong. $138 then, if that was an ABC. So I'd really like to see 138 hold as support. But today is a pretty, you know, in terms of candlesticks, this is called dark cloud cover. It's when you make a new high. So you trigger, like imagine you triggered everybody's long. You've triggered everybody long, okay, with this move and this breakout, and then it's a false breakout. And then when you close more than 50% down, the big up candle, that's called dark cloud cover. It's a bearish reversal candle. It's a swing failure pattern, so we should see it continue to the first support, and that's either going to be here at 138 or the 20 moving average. So watch that we don't break down going the other way, and by, you know, yeah, it's a pretty nasty move, unfortunately. So a little bit lower, 138 would be where I'd be looking, or we could say the 236 fib from all the way from the lows. If we hold above that, that would be quite a good sign, but we're kind of washing through that level at the moment, aren't we? So it's not, that's not helping. So yeah, let's see 138 hold. Okay, but nasty breakout, this nasty false move, and so expect some follow through. Okay, and FTM, Phantom rather than FTX, right? Yeah, Phantom. Okay. Phantom. Okay, now this one, it's not so not so troublesome. Mainly because this is where our support is. So Phantom got up here above the 236 fib, and now we're back testing it. So if we are going to keep going higher in this one, we should hold this support, and we shouldn't go back underneath. So this is ideally, we don't want to close underneath a daily close underneath 72, and if we drop underneath the daily 20 moving average, that's us at game over, because we'll come all the way back to this 50 probably. Let's double check there. Yeah, so ideal support. In fact, if the day closes above 72, even better. And then we'll have another go, tackle this 200 moving average and see if we can continue higher from here. So ideal place to look. Let's see. There's one more thing we should do, which, as you do, let's just have a little measure of these swings from the lows. You know, yeah, be really careful that this support holds, because if it doesn't, no, we're not there yet. That should be good. We're all right. We're all right. Panicked for nothing. Okay. On ideal support, any lower than this, any lower than today's low in Phantom, and that's time to say bye-bye to that one, I'm afraid, for now. I'm just gonna, hoping that I'm missing. Chris Phoenix, how are you? A chart like CRO, yes. Okay, hold on. I might be missing some requests. Can I have a look at video coin on Qcoin? Hello, Chris Phoenix. Let's look at video on Qcoin. Vid, sorry. No, what am I doing? There it is. Gonna look at it against Bitcoin first, which means it might not look terribly good. Duh. Do you know, whenever I see it here, so we could look at this little pattern here. So we've had this horrible drop, clearly, all the way back to our daily moving averages, and it looks like, oh, we're making a very nice inverted head and shoulders, doesn't it? Whenever I see the moving averages the wrong way around, like here, it always says to me we're going to retest the lows or do a deeper low, or it probably won't break out. And that's, I think, what we're seeing here. So I'm not quite sure that this is over. Now, what would be a level that would trigger me to buy this? If I put my fib on from this high to this low, and we got above the 236 fib, that would do it. That's quite a long way from here. So I think, you know, let's see a lower high, something like that, or a tag of this 200 moving average, and then back above the 20 moving average, I would do it. But for now, I don't know if I would spend my Bitcoin on this one. Let's go like this. Okay, so that's not too scary. But I'm going to put fibs on both swings and let's see where we are. You always just want, where is it going to bottom? How far is it going to come back before? And it might be that we need to say hi to this 200 moving average, which is at the 786 fib level. So that 955 would be where I were looking for, 955 here, and that's, yeah, 955 is where I think the support is, and it's got a little bit further to come. Video coin against Bitcoin. Then it's going to be a great buy at that 200 moving average. Let's take a look at it against the US dollar, see, or Tether. Am I looking at the right coin? That's probably the one you meant, right? Oh, video coin. Video coin. Vid, not it's a different one. I was looking at the wrong chart, wasn't I? Maybe this is just Bitcoin strength. Vid US dollar calculated. I think we need to stick to Qcoin, don't we? Same level, so 943 at Qcoin. That's where the, and video, well, US dollar. What's not to like, right? Now, going all the way from the lows. Do it that way. Yeah, look, you know, if you put your fibs in, and then sometimes we swamp through them, but if you then back test them and they become level, I think the same again here. We're coming back to this 8772, 0.08872 probably is where we come back to, and that 200-day. What level is this? Maybe 8040, but 87. I don't think. Maybe that's one. A little bit further. It's not a reversal yet for me anyway. What would look like a really good bottoming pattern in this one, to change my mind that we weren't going that far, a big double bottom because our moving average is the wrong way around. That's always a good look for a bottoming pattern, especially this level, you know. Yeah, that's what I would look for. Okay. What about the ZIL pullback? Yeah, let's look at the ZIL pullback and say, make sure it's not something nasty as well. This is one we've been watching, and I can't remember it right now. I've done too many, I've got brain farts. Here we go. So, if this is going to be one of those nice corrective ABC pullbacks, this was the perfect look. Okay, this is an hourly. Let's put it on the daily and just say what I mean. So here on the daily, okay, in Zilliqa, this is one of those perfect ABC pullbacks. Not only that, but it pulled back to this previous high, and it pulled back to the 236 fib at 196. So this would be a good place for it to rally from. The problem is that with a 38.2, so let's zoom out. I put my fib on from this high to low. This is the big 236 fib target up here. The problem is that sometimes when you reverse it to 38.2, you can do a really deep pullback, like a big 886, you know, potentially. If this 196 level goes, I would be putting my order to buy it down here at 91. So 196 support then becomes important. No daily close below that level. So here we're coming back. We've bounced off it once. We're coming back to retest it. Let's see what we do and if we can make a bottom here. So this is a really good place for ZIL to buy. We just really want this to hold up and then launch, if you like. That's what I'd be looking for. If we get underneath this level again, which we've sneaked under here before, didn't we? If we get underneath and then it becomes resistance, that's a problem. You need to get people are selling against it, and so you need to get out of the way. Okay. Okay. So if you missed the beginning, I've done the Bitcoin right at the beginning. I spent quite a lot of time on it. So just one more. I think I've got it. Oh, WTC. Noza, hello. I'll finish with WTC for you if that's okay. Bolton. Okay, so big picture. If we can get above our 200 big picture, we've got this big, most recent swing lower in Walton. If we can get above this daily 200 moving average, and we really get a shimmy on higher, a big 873 would be where I'm looking. But that's a gazillion miles, unfortunately, away from where we are now. So we're going to take a look at this short-term, most recent swing lower, and see what we need to do and how far we're going to come back before we can get out of here. So we'll go from this high to this low and look at short-term fib levels. So this gives us quite a good clue, right? Because we reversed at this 886 fib. That was up here. The rule is back to the 50%, which we've bounced from. And if you lose this 50% level, you're going to go to the 2-3, which is all the way down here. So that's our second stop, right? So far so good. Yeah, if we lose that level, we come to 315. So 371 is important support. No daily close below 371, and we look all good to go higher. So we're just trying to see what's gonna take. Are we gonna retest this level? Let's see. Bolton. Do you know, it all looks quite positive to me, but whenever all your moving averages, of course, are bunched up, then you never know. We could just as easily come down here and retest this before we bounce. So as long as we stay above 370, I like it. And I would look for really good support at 370 on a retest. And then clearly if we break out from this wedge the other way, then we're on our way up again. But yeah, WTC has lots of potential. But this 200 moving average will be key. So when we do rally, 432 is where we're going to be looking at. And then we really should start maybe looking at widening this out, bigger swings. So yeah. Okay. Bolton, above this 200 moving average here at 460, should fly, and 870 would be the upside target. I know that's crazy, but that's where I'd be looking. Okay. Listen, all of them on the log scale look the same. Look, you know, because they've all fallen 88, 90%. The idea, you've got to find a gem. Like, why did they fall? They all fell this one fell to new lows. Why did they do this? Did they run out of money? Have they got any more money now? Did they, you know, was it like Charlie Lee? Did they blow it all up their noses? Or, you know, was it just a shit idea in the first place? If it was a great idea and something went wrong, you know, have they fixed it? Haven't they fixed it, you know? Some of them are just always going to be shit ideas and they're not going to make it, you know. In 2017, you could write a complete fantasy white paper, couldn't you? And people would give you money. What I like about this market, I really do think that people are more picky. So, all right, so we're watching for a breakout in Bitcoin. And hopefully ADA and F are leading the way and can break out first. Everyone thinks this is really lovely bullish news about PayPal. And so let's see. No breakout yet. So potentially we could still fail and still spend the summer doing a little bit more sideways back and fill. Okay, good night everyone. Oh, Sir Phytone, sorry, Nim. I didn't see that. Nim. I don't think I've got a chart ready for that one. Can't believe my puppy's slept through this whole hour and a half. That's lucky. Now he's going to be awake all night and cause me hell. Honestly, I feel like I have a newborn baby. Okay, Nim. Probably Keycoin, right? Let's start a monthly. Ooh. I already went for it, didn't it? Look at that. So remember, this 113, it's not on most fibs, you have to add it. 113 extension, if it's going to just make a marginal new high and come all the way back, that's where they go to. And that's exactly what this one did. Back to the 50% though, that's where it's supposed to go. So this is looking quite, so if this is 1, 2, let me see. Let's take these away in the middle. Okay, so I think that this looks like a big wave 1, this is wave 2, and this is wave 3. When we look at this in weekly, this wave 2 took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Shouldn't take more than 8 weeks, and this is a second week of correction. Okay, and it shouldn't come back, and ideally not it shouldn't come back, but normally 38.2 of this, or 50%. It's come back a little bit more than that, but as long as we don't go below this high, we should see another leg higher and new highs. And this time we would look for the 1272 or the 1.618. So it looks pretty well. Oh, good Lord. Looks pretty good and pretty well supported in here. This looks like a very nice ABC correction, but sometimes it's the first of, as you know. Yeah, I like this chart. I'm not quite sure it's ready. I'm telling you what I would look at, and I would put on an RSI. Let me take this off. And relative strength. Ooh, this is quite good. So if you think it's going to be a wave 4, we could start going up already actually. A wave 4 on the daily, you would normally expect it to come back to the 50% and rally. It shouldn't come all the way back to the bottom and reset on an RSI. And that's what this is doing. So yeah, I quite like the look of this. So as you can see, all my dogs are shouting at the deer or something, or the fox. So 23.48, above 23.48 is would be my bullish sign, confirmation that it's going up higher again. That's what I'd be looking for in NIM Bitcoin. Okay, I'm going to go. Thank you very much for coming. Have a really good week. Let's see if Bitcoin can break out this week and follow stocks higher. That would be so nice.